I'd like to welcome everybody to the July 14th regular meeting of the Bland County School Board. With that, Mr. Buttry, if you do the invocation.
Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day that we've enjoyed. God, we ask this evening, Lord, that you would come into this place and help us to do the business of Blaine County Public Schools. Lord, help us to work together in unity with the wisdom of God, just not men, but Lord, with you. God, I pray this evening, Lord, that your blessings, Lord, would be upon our students, our staff, and our parents. Lord, as we work forward toward this fall season of going back to school. God, I pray, Lord, that you would be with us this evening, and we give you praise in Jesus' name.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the minutes to be approved of the June 9th regular meeting. Any comments on the minutes of that meeting?
I have none.
I have a motion to approve, if no.
Second.
modification.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
I made the motion. He seconded. Four.
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 Four. And we have the minutes of the June 23rd work session.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
Four.
Mr. Buttry?
Four.
Four. Mr. Shepherd?
Four. Has anybody sent anything in for public comment? Received nothing for public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next item on the informational agenda is the financial report. The school fiscal year ends at the end of June and starts at the beginning of July. So we've just started a new year. Last year was very different than most years because of the schools closing, and a lot of the are called flow-through, where you do certain things and then you're paid for accomplishing that. Different grants, those type of things, such as the science programs, and that could not take place. So for the year, we ended up receiving $151,109 less than budget, because we could not do the actions which justified us getting that money. However, on the expenditure side, since school was shut down for a period of time, we did have reduced costs, and the costs were reduced by $486,823. So that leaves us a remainder for the year of $335,719, which we hope we can roll over into this year, because we will have another number of costs this year due to the COVID, and also we've already been told by the state we'll be seeing some reduction in funds. So everybody worked really hard last year to make all the adjustments as they were needed, and the year came out very positive for us, and it should give us some money to cover these additional costs in the 2020-2021 school year. Any questions on the finances? Okay, the next thing is the new property management agreement, which has been signed with JDM Services. This agreement covers normal maintenance, it covers custodial, it covers lawn care and landscaping, those type of things, and also covers snow removal. Darnie is here to talk to us briefly there, and worked very closely getting this thing kicked off, and we've got high expectations, and I've already seen some nice improvements. So With that, Ms. Arney, would like to speak. Do we need to get her a microphone? Microphone.
No.
Mr. Mead and board members, first we want to thank you for having the faith in John Melvin and Melvin Enterprises and JDM Services to take on this new venture. We're excited to be here. We've already started with mowing and weed eating and trimming up things. We've started painting. We have worked on the parking lot over at Bland in conjunction with VDOT and an engineer to make sure that the drainage was received. If you're welcome to go by. We welcome any comments from Mr. Mead or Mr. Shephers or of any of the board members because we want to make a positive impression. And we want to work with you. You won't only see me, but also Kirby Lambert will be joining JDM shortly, and he will be in charge of maintenance and making sure that everything is going as it should be. Our concentration right now has been on the outside, and we look forward to starting Monday. We'll be coming inside. So we have a lot of things in mind. You know, these are our kids. You know, they're not your kids. They're my kids too. And John has always felt, you know, he was born and raised in Bland County, and he wants to make a difference. And I think that that's possible if everyone works together. Just a few things that we've been doing. We're doing some landscaping. If you haven't been by the school board office, it's had a major renovation on the outside. We look forward to going inside soon and doing some cleaning projects and things like that to get ready for the new school year. We repaired the ramp up to your sidewalk. It was cracked and busted. We've swept parking lots. We've been pressure washing. We're striping parking lots back. We're going to be doing some paving at the elementary school. We've trimmed trees. The boys are really enjoying pressure washing. At least it's cool out there when they're doing it. We worked on some band room renovations. We're in the process of completing that project. We've done front steps over at Bland Elementary. They are clear now. They're pretty color of concrete. And we've painted doors. They're pretty color of blue. We've done some things down at the sports complex, painted a door, put in a door lock, trimmed around the fence. My pet peeve was leaves over in that one corner. Well, those are gone. So, you know, we want to work with you to succeed. We're staffed at about 90%. I've got one other position to fill, and then it'll be at 100%. So most of those people, if they were working with the county or with the school board, we tried to retain those people because they're already vetted and they know the buildings, and they're very forthcoming with information that's helpful for us coming in and not knowing the buildings. Like I said, next week we'll start inside the buildings, and we're going to get ready for whatever happens with the school openings and however you do that. But if you have any questions, we welcome you to call. You can call the office over at Bastion and leave a message, and John or I will call you back. If you catch us out in public, that doesn't matter either. Just let us know what you need us to do. Kirby he is going to be a big asset to us. I am excited that he's decided to accept the position. He comes with a lot of knowledge and a lot of training. So again, we're excited, and we want to thank you for the opportunity to start this new endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Allen.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
I think the one thing we want to look at is make sure that we have good communication. For sporting events, to let you guys, we want a good contact, and I think Tyler's a good one for sporting events. What for nighttime basketball games, so that way you guys know what's going on. We want you guys to know what's going on in every building whenever. That way you know where to be, what you need to be doing. So
And that would
just
be
make sure you get you work on that, and you know who you need to get in contact with, and let us know names of people too.
Okay, and always, we have, Lord, I think it was 10 or 12 years experience with VDOT rest areas
Right.
and property management. So we do not come into this not knowing what we're doing. So we came with some experience under our belts. And I always feel like if you can work with VDOT in Richmond, you can work with anybody.
That's a good point.
Does anyone have any questions? I'll be glad to answer anything that you have.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very
We're
much.
excited.
Very much.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. And we plan on attending, every board meeting. You will see a representative from JDM Services here.
Great.
Great, great.
Okay, updates, Mr. Mead?
I've got a few, Mr. Chairman. Of course, the reopening of school, we'll talk about it in depth later. But I'd like to personally thank the task force committees that we put together that developed this plan. We've met 3 or 4 times throughout the last 6 weeks developing these plans so we can present them to you tonight. But the task force committee is comprised of teachers, teacher assistants, bus drivers, librarians, administrators, and we took and board members. We had a board member on each task force committee. So we had some input from the various stakeholders in the county. So I thank you. School board office outside is beautiful right now. I mean, my gosh, the work that's been done. I ask you to go by and take a look at it. They've nearly completed the front part where the flag is. It's a great job. I really look forward to working with Miss Arnie. Welcome aboard, Mr. Lambert, and my friend John Melvin. And what Miss Arnie said is true. John has his heart with the kids in this county, and it's refreshing to hear him talk about our students. Mr. Grimm's unpacking. He wasn't here tonight because I failed to tell him to be here. So blame me for his absence. I'm sorry, got a lot on my mind right now. But he has met, I guess, by now, probably close to all of his teachers. He called them in and had one-on-one meetings. He's supposed to do that this week. I don't know if he's completed that or not. I know he started yesterday with Miss Lambert was his first one. So I think that went real well. She bragged on him, so glad that's working out. Dr. Hopkins is working out details with our dual enrollment at WCC and Governor's School. We have some work there left to do as we move in through this fall. I'm sure there'll be other issues that come up with Tech Center, Career Tech Center, and these kind of programs that's not housed on campus. So we'll have to try to match schedules as closely as we can. I brought you examples of calendars, and I'll pass those around so you can take a look at it. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow as far as the way the reopening of schools goes, but it's a couple of looks at calendars of how it would look if we started after Labor Day. Not saying we would, but just to know that I have those if we need them, and I'll pass those around so you take a look at them. We can discuss them at the next meeting, or if you want questions now, I'll be glad to handle those if I can. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have until we start talking about our plan.
Okay, Ms. Hopkins, would you like to say anything? Okay, thank you. School board members? Philip?
I just want to share this evening that if ever there's been a time in our school system and in our community that we all work together, now's the time. I realize that there's going to be things within our community and our staff and everywhere that folks may not like, things that you will like. And but during this time, over the last few months, we've all got to be flexible. And I just want to share with everybody, now's the time for us to work together to make things as best as what we can make them to be, because the future is unknown. But I'd like to quote Helen Keller for just a moment, who said, "Alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much." So whether that's with the county administration, whether it's with BCEA, our teachers, our students, and on our school board, as well as with the administration at both schools, let's work together to complete the job and to educate our children in Blaine County.
Sharon?
I just think that always we're so fortunate to have the people that we do have to work with, and I think all of us will and shall work together. I mean, you know, it's just like everything's new to all of us. And it's not just us, you know, it's everybody around us. So we'll just dive into it all together, I guess.
Dwayne?
I just want to thank JDM for coming on board with us,
Mm-hmm.
for everything that they've done so far, and appreciate you guys and know the impact that you're going to have on schools, and appreciate your dedication. And thanks for all the administrative, Dr. Hopkins and Scott, and hopefully, welcome Mr. Grimm. He's not here tonight, but it's just going to be a long year. It's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of things that's going to happen. People's going to scratch their heads, and everything's going to be fluid. You know, to use a buzzword, it's going to be fluid, and there's all the plans that we have in place are going to be movable. We don't know what's going to happen, so just everybody, please be patient with schools. Everything we do is in the best interest of the kids, always. That's number one, the kids, and then our staff. It's always in their best interest, and just because you see it on social media doesn't mean it's true. So
That's
just
right.
hopefully people out there will remember that. So that's it.
The most frustrating thing that's going on right now is all the uncertainty, and it makes it very hard to plan anything. Mr. Mead and I talked when we left school the last school year and were forced to shut down, and we were talking about things, and I said my hope is just that when the next school year comes we can go back normal, but it's obvious that's not going to happen, and we're living very much a day-to-day environment. Virginia was able to go into phase 3 and was at a situation where cases were in the range of 600 per day. Now it's back up to close to 1,000 a day. So it's a possibility that the state may not even remain in phase 3 for an extended period of time here. So we've been very lucky in Bland County in that we've been relatively unaffected. There's been 3 cases identified in Bland County since the pandemic started, and we've had no cases related to Bland County Public Schools. So all of those things are critical in the decisions we make as we move forward. And while we can't take the full risk out of anything, because risk is part of life, you have a risk every time you get in a vehicle or anytime you do anything. We want to make sure that we do it in such a way that risk is minimized and that we keep the students in mind, but also the staff, the teachers, the custodians, the cafeteria workers, everybody in mind as we do this. So we'll be talking about some plans today, and these plans, like everything else we talked about, are fluid, and they're based upon certain things being in place. And if phase 3 goes back to phase 2, the plan has to be modified. Cases appear in the county, ramp up, they have to be modified. So everything, I want you to know that we will react, and we will react quickly if conditions change. With that, we'll move into the action agenda. The first item in the action agenda is to approve payments. Does anybody have any questions on any of the payments?
There was there was a $2,600 to Beth Cochran. I think that was help at the board office, right? And I'm taking it that the $10,000 for Dudley was for land. Okay.
With that, if I could have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the payments.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett? Mr. Shepherd?
O&M projects, we did a lot of projects last year, and O&M projects are capital projects that are over $5,000. We had 15 projects in trying to, I'll say, keep these aging facilities operational for our students, and spent $424,061. 424,061 over 15 projects. All the projects have now terminated. We have no open projects in O&M, and we'll be working with JDM to determine what projects, and also as it looking at what funds we have to manage projects. But it does show the cost of keeping these older facilities up. Like I said, this is in addition to custodial work. This is in addition to normal maintenance. There was $424,000 spent on keeping the buildings operational. Next item is Bland County High School Language Art textbooks. Scott, you want to say something about that, or?
Every year we have a textbook fund that's separate from what we usually pull our monies out of. Textbook fund, whatever money we have left goes to the county, I believe. It stays in the county. When we need it, we draw from that. We have teachers that need textbooks. That's what this is about. These language art textbooks, we're actually late getting them, aren't we, Miss? So we're going to make it right and try to get her some textbooks and the rest of the language art.
So we need a motion to approve.
Can somebody give us details about which one the schools need? What's the
We used
difference?
to do every 7 years, right?
Basically, 7 years is when the new textbook cycle comes around. And
Replace
the
them.
state of Virginia actually eliminates the ones that don't match our curriculum. So the ones we get to choose from have been gone through by the state of Virginia. So then we choose which one fits our students the best. So it's a 7-year cycle.
Yep. So there's a 5-year bid in here for $49,361.
Was that just for the 5-year that we were going to be able to use the
Yeah, there's.
other component of that? That's not actually
49,361
just the
and then-
textbook.
Right,
That's the online portion of that.
right. That's the
How-
student access
And then the
and access.
7 years, 56,892.
There's also consumables that go with the textbooks too that you use.
I guess this isn't clear to us. Are we approving one or the other, or?
We have to choose.
Yeah,
So
7 year.
which one do they need?
Which one do you want?
7 year. I'll make a motion, we go with the 7-year contract.
I'll second.
I mean, are we gonna, I'd like to have a little more discussion if that would be okay, just to ask. So in 7 years, we're gonna replace these textbooks again?
Sometimes
That's the
we
way
do,
we
sometimes
always do. Yeah, that's the
Well,
cycle that
we're
going
behind a
through all
year
the
on the
time.
cycle, so
We're behind a whole cycle. The textbooks are 14 years old. So every 7 years,
Replaced.
So we're behind a whole cycle,
yeah.
so we're behind 7 years, so it's
Okay.
needing to be.
So we need to probably do the 7-year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Mr. Bailey,
4.
Ms. Puckett,
Or
Mr. Petrie,
4.
Mr. Shepherd.
Okay, now the tough one. Return to school plan.
Okay, Chairman, I'm gonna go through the plan, and we'll let you, parents know and people watching that this plan will, if approved, will be posted on our Facebook page and web page, probably tomorrow morning. Look for that if you have, if you want to see anything that I think I have missed here. As you all know, in March 13th, what happened to our school year? It pretty much came out that we were going to be out for 2 weeks, and then it went, I think March 23rd was announced we'd be out for the rest of the year. I can only say great things about our teachers. Quickly, they got everything together. They got virtual learning, online learning. They got hard copies together to get instruction for our kids for the rest of the school year. And so now we have a plan that if we have to go back to phase 2, our teachers are ready for it. So that's the positive part of this. We've come around a whole lot thanks to a lot of good teachers, a lot of good principal guidance, and that's what led to us putting this plan together. Now, the governor spoke today, and he has decided to leave us in phase 3. So we are still remaining in phase 3, and we'll follow the phase guidance for Virginia schools as communicated by the governor concerning the implementation and the timeline of the phases. The information is going to be communicated to employees, students, and parents, and we'll do the same type of communication we've been doing, unless you feel like we need to do a better job of how we're communicating this information to parents and students and teachers. You want to say something, Mr. Buttrey? I could just see it. You're dying to say something.
We always need to do a better job.
Okay.
Always.
So communication.
Communication is the beast of all this.
Point taken, sir. I'll try to do my best to prove that. Social distancing has, we're bound with the facilities we have, and the social distancing has really been a complicated issue for our task force committees. When we talk about the 6-foot distancing and how we can manage that in classrooms and buses and cafeterias and libraries, and it's mind-boggling of all the things we've gone through in the last 6 to 8 weeks. But we are going to try to follow CDC guidelines and try to keep the social distancing as much as we possibly can. And when we can't have the social distancing, if it has to be less than 6 foot, we'll use mask. So right now, from what I've heard from parents the most is they don't like the idea of their kids wearing masks. So we're going to practice our best to do the 6-foot social distancing, which will lead into our instructional part of our plan. All employees will be responsible for disinfecting personal workplaces. We'll have alcohol-based hand sanitizers available throughout the schools. Cleaning sprays and disinfecting wipes will also be available. Teachers and staff clean frequently touched objects and surfaces, workspaces, classrooms. Custodians will clean and disinfect during designated cleaning times as well. So it'll be ongoing. It'll be a team effort like we all just got through talking. It's going to take everybody. It's going to take an army to fight these germs, and it is an invisible enemy. I think that's what the president calls it. The invisible enemy. We'll have to fight it very hard. We'll have signage. We're going to have signage at the schools directing visitors and parents. Try to direct kids in a way that they'll keep the social distancing in effect. Personal protective equipment, PPE, will be available. Face masks, face shields.
Go ahead. No. I got a text saying that they can't hear you very well
Sorry.
online.
Teachers and staff and students will all be required to wear a mask if we can't keep the social distancing 6 feet. So there may be times that we'll have to ask students to wear a mask, and that would probably be more like in transportation mode when we're in when they're on school buses. We'll do screenings of students. Health screenings will be given to students. We'll check temperatures and nurses. We have decided to hire some help for our nurses to help during this time, so we make sure all our children are being checked out. And I talked a little bit about transportation. Bus drivers will disinfect buses on every route they complete. They'll disinfect the buses. Students will be given assigned seats. Students living in the same household can sit together on the buses. So that's another task that Mike Shelton and I will be working on, is figuring out who lives in the same household so they can go on the bus together and sit in the same seat, which will help. Students are encouraging to wear face protocols that are listed here for reopening school and the guidelines, and under those are safety measures, daily practices, and then the requirements for students and parents. So when we post this, you'll be able to go down these and read those, that what you're going to be asked to do as far as a parent, a student, or a visitor. And we'll have those posted with this reopening. Now we get to the part you've been waiting on, is how are we going to reopen schools in Bland County? The plan that we worked on is going to be easy to move from phase to phase. If we have to move back to phase 2, the plan that's in place will be able to do that pretty easily. If we move into phase 4, which I have no idea what phase 4 looks like, the plan will be able to create more leniency to what I'm going to present to you. So Bland County Public Schools will provide every student in pre-K through 12 a device to use at school at home. So preschool and kindergarten will get an iPad, and first grade through 12th grade will be issued a Chromebook. If a student does not have internet, lessons and activities can be uploaded or devices are provided on a thumb drive for access at home. Teachers will use Google Suites, what is that? I've never heard of that.
Sweet.
Virtual Virginia, I've heard of Google Classroom, so we'll use that. Other learning programs to provide them instruction. Hybrid learning, under Phase 3 guidelines, Bland County Public Schools is planning on beginning the school year with a hybrid learning model. Students will be placed in Group A or Group B. They will follow the schedule below, and the schedule is listed. Students in Group A will attend school on Monday and Tuesday, and students in Group B will attend school on Thursday and Fridays. Students who reside in the same household will attend schools on the same days. Teachers will provide instruction on the days the students are in the buildings and then provide appropriate assignments for students to complete on the days they are not in school. The Wednesday of the week will be used for teacher work days, deep cleaning of schools. We'll come in and clean as much as we can. I've talked to Miss Arnie. She also thinks we'll do that after Friday's last student has left. So we'll do that twice a week, the deep cleaning. Disinfecting will take place every day, but the deep clean will take place twice a week on Wednesdays and Fridays. Distance learning, if you know, Bland County Public Schools would have to close and transition to distant learning, we're ready to do that. The students will take their devices home and they'll have devices so we can do that. Also, if parents don't want to send their kids to school, we will be able to provide Virtual Virginia, online learning, remote learning, and keep them enrolled in school.
And I think the county has opened up some hotspots, correct? They're setting some hotspots up in the county so that the kids that may not have access to internet, they might be able to go to and download theirs, so if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they have. The technology committee, Ms. Tate's supposed to be compiling a list of those for us to publish on our website as well.
She is, and so I guess what I'm trying to say is parents will have some options. They can choose whether they want to begin school with distance learning, Virtual Virginia, etc., or do the hybrid plan that we have in place. So we don't want to lose our students. We want our students to have the best of the education. So we're going to be flexible and work with parents on whatever they choose to do. I hear from parents a lot. They're very concerned, and they should be. And I hear from students, and students want to be back in school. For a better part, they want to come back. They miss their friends, and they miss the social, emotional part of school. So we move into the instructional equity. Assessments will be given in August and September to determine learning gaps for students. Teachers will use data from these assessments to plan remediation and new instruction. And you guys have heard me talk about this since this happened. We lost 9 weeks of instruction, and it hurts all kids, but I really worry about our K-3. They've lost some reading instruction, and we will test for that. We've got tests in place. PALS testing will identify what areas we need to remediate. So we'll do a lot of remediation at first too before we get into the curriculum. We're prepared to do that. We have Title I to do that. Middle and high school will have daily remediation opportunities built into classes. I'm sure that they've missed some instruction too. I worry with them with the math classes and stuff. There's things that you can't, that you have to go back and teach in math. But that's what we're doing. Pacing guides, of course, will have to be adjusted. Special education teachers, parents, and other members of IEP teams and 504 processes must work together to meet needs for these students by providing accessibility and continuity of services for students with disabilities during hybrid or distance learning. So that's the plan I've laid out to you. We've got it built in here, a small attendance policy. But like Mr. Shepherd said, this is a plan, and this is not a plan that's supposed to be permanent. This is a plan that's going to get us right back into school and ease us in to the regular way we've been teaching school for the last 100 years. So I hope that you guys can approve this plan today so we can begin to plan, because we have a lot of facility issues we have to tackle with bathrooms and cafeterias and band rooms and things of this nature. We've got a lot of things with the signage areas in the offices, the nurse's office. We have a lot of areas we need to start working on immediately. So thank you for hearing me. If you have questions, I'll entertain those right now.
Let me do kind of a recap and tell me if I misunderstood anything. This plan is based on the state staying in phase 3, no cases related to our school system, and Bland County remaining relatively unaffected by the virus.
Yes, sir.
And under this plan, the current strategy is to start on August 13th.
Yes, sir.
And students will be broken up into 2 groups, Group A or Group B. One group will go Monday, Tuesday. The other group will go Thursday, Friday.
Yes, sir.
And this will be reevaluated at a minimum on a 9-week basis, but possibly even before that, to see if adjustments need to be made. And social distancing will be practiced throughout this, and where we can't keep the 6 feet and we have to drop down to the 3 feet, then masks will be required.
The other thing with the grouping, I know there's going to be questions, well, how are you going to decide what kid goes into what group? That part I would like to leave up to our principals and guidance. They know the kids a lot better than I do. They probably know the family dynamics a lot better than we do too. So I would ask them to be in charge of grouping the kids in A or B.
And if parents for some reason have concern about the health of their children, or they have somebody in their household that is very vulnerable, they do have the option to start the year with distance learning.
Yes, sir. And they will still remain enrolled with us, and we'll just have to work it out with the guidance and the principles of how we schedule those. But they could surely start out the way we did in March and April.
And Blaine County Public Schools will provide all the PPE for students and staff.
Yes, sir.
Before we move forward?
Meals, I kind of skipped over that because Kelly's working on that, but all those eligible for meals will receive those even on the days they're not here. And that could be either sending meals home on those days with the last day they're here, or it could be delivering meals like we did this summer. So we're going to make sure those kids eat like they would if they were here.
Yeah, because the Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mondays and Tuesdays would be.
Yeah, they would eat here,
yeah.
But the other group would not. So we would want to feed them on those days too. Transportation is another issue. We'll try to estimate how many kids are going to be on each bus. We've had surveys on that to see how many kids are going to be needing transportation. We think we can accommodate the social distancing, but to be safe side, each driver will be given masks, and if it goes over the 6 foot, say to 3 feet, they'll have to have a mask.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve this approach moving forward?
I'll make a motion to approve the plan to return to school.
I'll second that.
Mr. Buttrey?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Next item is school calendars. Like I said, the calendar that was approved by the board sometime back has us starting on August 13th. If for some reason we feel that delaying will be beneficial in how we can bring the students back to school, We do have a calendar that starts with school starting on September 8th.
You have the two calendars that you have. One of them has school ending on June 4th, and one has school ending on June 8th. So that's why you got two choices of that. You can see, if you look at the original calendar we had, what had to be taken out if we start after Labor Day.
So we will stick with the starting on August 13th unless conditions change, and then we'll look at one of the other calendars.
So we need to approve the calendar, correct?
We already approved the one,
So we did, okay,
August.
approved it back at budget time.
okay, cool.
Okay, superintendent designee.
If you remember, when we did this back, gosh, March or so, we had Denise Tate as the designee. Now that Laura has assumed the position Brian had, I think we need to put Laura as my designee.
Motion to make Ms. Radford the superintendent designee.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
We feel we probably need to have a meeting on the calendar for our next meeting because of what all is going on. The next meeting is the 11th of August. And everything goes as we currently have planned.
Exactly.
They'll be starting school 2 days later. So we need to at least have one on the calendar before then to address issues that arise. I would probably suggest that sometime the last week of July if people
That works fine for
be
me.
available then.
That should be good.
Latter portion of the week would work better for me if that's okay.
Like a Thursday or?
Yep, Thursday 30th would be great if we can. That works out for everybody.
Okay, so this will be a special meeting on July 30th, starting at 5.
We can just hold it at the board office.
Yes, sir.
To be held at the. And we can communicate further on that if everything is going smooth.
Yeah.
Not too worried about everything going smooth.
I'll
We
put
hope
that,
it
I'll
will.
put that in the plan.
The
We'll write that up now.
You-
Make it
Maybe
go
the plan
smooth.
goes
if
smooth
you have
every day.
a chance tomorrow, I think too that VHSL will be having a special meeting to decide about what they're going to do for fall sports, and I think everybody's kind of interested to see what Dr. Hahn is going to present on tomorrow's meeting.
You heard anything, Tyler? Or?
I sent you that we were out of the MED, they voted us out, and Hoagie didn't allow us in, but we did hear from Tom Dolan right before this meeting, and he encouraged us to go ahead and write the appeal, so we'll do that. We have to have it in by tomorrow, but he was encouraged for that appeal to happen.
You want to summarize that, Scott, so that people watching can hear what was just said?
What has happened is the Bland County High School has asked to get out of the Mountain Empire District. And to do that, they had to request that through the district first, I guess. And you have two districts involved because they want to enter the Hogahegie District. Now, I think the Hogahegie District, all but one school accepted that. So it's right now, it's up in the air. They're going to, I think the high school's going to appeal that to see if we can get out of the Mountain Empire District. Is that correct?
Okay, We have some personnel issues to approve. Oh,
Yeah, I'll make a I'll make a motion for a special meeting on July the 30th, Thursday at 5 o'clock at the board office in Bastion.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Okay, personnel, we have some people to hire.
Yeah, we need to fill the history position here that's open. I recommend that you hire the Mr. Shirey for that position.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4.
We had the 2 new positions, the school assistant positions that we interviewed for. One at the elementary and one at the Bland County High School. So
The nursing assistant.
yes. So the recommendation of our panel was for the elementary school, we'd like to recommend Winnie Fogelsong. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yes, sir.
And for the high school, we'd like to recommend Larissa Hunt.
Do you want one motion for both of those, or?
That should be fine.
I'll make a motion to accept both of those for the position.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, I think we're through with the action agenda. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Thank you, everyone.